Good evening, everybody. I'm not a filmmaker, or I should say I wasn't a filmmaker or a human rights activist until I was forced to become a bit of both. About 4 years ago, I had a lawyer in Russia named Sergei Magnitsky who uncovered a big corruption scheme of the Russian government. He exposed it. He was then arrested, tortured for 358 days in jail, and killed by the Russian authorities in 2009. And I decided on the day of his death that I would devote my time, energy, and resources to making sure that the people who killed him face justice. As part of that process, a movie was made with two very excellent Dutch filmmakers called Justice for Sergei. And last year I stood up on this stage, or a stage just like it, or Cinema for Peace, and received the award that I'm going to be giving tonight for this movie. And I can say very practically that not only are movies good for raising awareness, but they're also good for changing policy. And this movie was very much of a key part of a piece of legislation which was passed at the end of last year with the name of my lawyer. It was called the Sergei Magnitsky Act, and it was passed in the United States by Obama, which imposes visa sanctions and asset freezes on Russian officials who perpetrate gross human rights abuses. And it's probably one of the most influential pieces of legislation in human rights in the last decades against Russia, and a real tribute to the power of advocacy and the power of movies. I'm very pleased to be here tonight to recognize some other inspirational characters and another inspirational story, and I think we're going to show them.
I'm the first gamer to be open in Uganda, the very first gamer. I wanted to begin the fight to liberate our people.
God's law is that homosexuality is sin, and God's law is always clear that the wages of sin is death.
My work mostly is to document violences and cases of discrimination against gay people.
Aujourd'hui, un projet de loi contre l'homosexualité a été présenté devant le Parlement ougandais.
We don't recognize it as a human right here.
If this bill passes, they say within 24 hours, someone should report the person he knows to be gay. How secure are we? They are trying to violate more homophobia and hate on us. We have to be very security conscious.
Gay rights activist 46-year-old David Katochisule was attacked at his home by unknown assailants. He was hit with a hammer on the head and died on the way to hospital.
We are paying attention to this murder. Do not disappear David Cato's murder, or we will make you a pariah for it. For that and for your Kill the Gays bill.
We can't forget that we've been empowered through the death of David.
And from this minute, the Hate No More campaign has been launched. Thank you.
Gays in Uganda get a reprieve. The current session of parliament comes to a close without a vote on Uganda's controversial anti-homosexual bill.
Let's celebrate this day for David.
Tonight's International Human Rights Film Award winner describes a remarkable story of fighting oppression that unfortunately has its tragic moments in Uganda. Homophobic laws have made the lives of gays and lesbians unbearable, and they've fallen victim to persecution and violence. This film tells the story of the heroic activist who tirelessly fought to repeal these laws, Mr. David Kato. David was brutally murdered during the making of this film. His legacy will, however, continue to inspire the future generations of human rights activists, especially through tonight's winning film. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of International Human Rights Film Award are Call Me Kuchu by Catherine Fairfax Wright, Malika Worrall, the late David Kuchu, and Frank Mugisha from the Sexual Minorities Uganda.